Welcome to All Nature Connected, a podcast created by the Forest Bathing Institute where we explore all nature connected topics, including nature and health, nature inspired lifestyle, nature connection and forest bathing, nature preservation, and eco awareness. We hope that this podcast will inspire you to become more connected with nature and your own health and well-being.
Hello everyone, this is Olga from the Forest Bathing Institute today with Liz. Liz is the head of our Forest Bathing Guide Training Module 2 and also our senior guide. And today we will be talking about Liz's sessions at RSPB The Lodge and also how Liz got interested in forest bathing and guiding others in connection to nature. So just a little bit more about Liz to start with. So Liz's journey has taken her on a sometimes unexpected but always interesting path. From a high-pressure career as a solicitor in a major London law firm to becoming a forest bathing guide and tutor for the Forest Bathing Institute, now the head of Module 2, dedicated to improving well-being through nature. Raised in rural North Yorkshire, she has always felt at home outdoors, a connection that grew as she found time in the wild help manage her anxiety and depression. Experiencing the profound mental health benefits of nature firsthand inspired Liz to train as a forest bathing guide with the Forest Bathing Institute and go on to set now her own business, Wilder Lives, and she now loves helping others find their own connection with the living world around them. When Liz is not guiding or tutoring, she works in fitness, and her free time can usually be found exploring in Bedfordshire countryside on foot, bike, or paddleboard, or volunteering at local nature reserve, living out her passion for helping people and caring for the natural world. So, welcome, Liz. Thank you for joining us today. It's a
Thanks,
pleasure.
Olga. Lovely to be here.
So, Liz, tell us a little bit more about how you became interested in forest bathing.
Yeah, so I think it was probably around 2017, maybe 2018. I was listening to the radio and an interview came on that was a guy called Mathieu Ricard. You may have heard, he's quite a famous Nepalese French Buddhist monk, but also author. So it was him and Dr. Ching Lee, who's kind of one of the godfathers, I'm sure your listeners know, one of the godfathers of forest bathing research from Japan. So I was hearing this interview and hearing them talk about forest bathing and the science behind it and all the potential benefits. And I think like maybe again a lot of your listeners, a lot of people who come to sessions, when they first hear about forest bathing, they suddenly go, well, of course, it makes perfect sense, right? So yeah, that was kind of my intro to forest bathing. I was like, okay, there's this thing I didn't know of, it's got a name, but it makes perfect sense to me. So that's kind of on one level where it sort of began. But I think the kind of deeper level is that my journey into forest bathing really kind of stems from my my experiences with mental health, and the fact that since kind of my teens I've experienced periods of anxiety and depression. And so, you know, over the years I've kind of always been on the lookout for different things to help me manage that. About Probably about 9 or 10 years ago now, I started practicing mindfulness regularly, and that was something that I found really helpful for me. So I kind of knew that was something that was good. And also over the years, I'm kind of, particularly when I was younger, but I sort of got a bit lost when I was in London. But once I'd sort of moved back out again, it's that kind of realization that actually time outdoors is really helpful for me too. It just always seemed to boost my mood. And sometimes that was in a kind of really obvious way, like being out on a sunny day is great. But I think sometimes in a bit of a less obvious, maybe more personal way as well, in that just being out in nature, I felt kind of quite freeing, like that felt like there was no expectations, no need to be a particular way. You know, nature's just kind of going about doing its thing, and that means I can just kind of be myself as well. So yeah, so I think there's two things, that kind of knowing that mindfulness was good for me, knowing that being out in nature was good for me, meant that as I started to learn more about forest bathing, yeah, it just felt like a perfect fit. And obviously I was very lucky in that not long after I'd started to learn about it, I found out that you and Gary were running sessions at our RSPB The Lodge. So I got to come to one of those sessions. Really loved it. And again, luckily for me, Gary mentioned at the end that you were looking for new team members. So that was kind of really the sort of, you know, it was all, yeah, I was going to say it was all downhill from there. That's not what I mean. It was all kind of positive from there. What I mean is it was sort of an easy journey in.
Oh, that's beautiful to hear, Liz. And you know, I still actually remember that session, which is very rare for me to remember particular sessions, just because of, you know, how many we've run, and also so much there are so many experiences that we share during the sessions. But I do definitely remember the one session where you came, and it's amazing to actually hear about your journey, how everyone's journey, I think, to connection to nature, to finding forest bathing is unique. But your journey is I think quite interesting, and especially with your background in working in corporate before you started doing exploring your own health and well-being, and gradually moving away from corporate work in London. Yeah, it's quite a unique journey, and as we say, everyone's journey is unique. Then
Absolutely.
finding what's right for you and the right timing. So
Yeah, and I think the thing that's sort of, yeah, I mean it's yeah, it's not the obvious career path, but I think the thing that sort of once I got to, you know, obviously you're going through university and you're going through your legal training, and then I ended up practicing as a solicitor with a large commercial firm. And yeah, I kind of realized, okay, this probably isn't right for me. And I think a lot of that for me was about feeling, okay, but I want to be helping people. It was that sort of realization. So that was kind of what started me on my journey out of that. I mean, along with the horrendous work-life balance as well. I mean, that didn't help. But yeah, that was kind of what started to lead me out. Was what led me into my sort of work in fitness. But then, yeah, when I came across forest bathing, I was already thinking, okay, this is great. What I'm doing now is helping people, but it also feels like there's a kind of a deeper level, that more sort of the mental well-being side of things, that I feel like, you know, maybe that's something, an area that I could work in and help support people in as well.
yeah, thank you, Liz. And as we know, a lot of students just love Liz because of your
Oh,
care, and also your approach, how you really relate to people. And I think because of your experience with what you were saying, the struggles with anxiety and depression in your own health and well-being, and work-life balance, I think it's one of the things we often hear from the students who come train with us, as Liz is the head of Module 2 training, is that you really do relate with people's experiences, and you kind of meet them where they are. And of course, now you're running sessions at RSPB The Lodge. And people also, I know you have quite a following of people who come and rejoin your sessions, and have been to a few sessions that you've run. So could you tell us a little bit more about why was your initial interest in running the sessions in this location? Because knowing that you grew up in Yorkshire, it's such a beautiful place. There are so many beautiful locations around. So what was the particular interest in around?
yeah, no, that's true. But before I answer that, I just wanted to go back and say thank you. That was really kind of you to say those things. And I absolutely teaching is another thing I'm really passionate about. I love sort of being able to help support our students, and it's wonderful to see people go on that forest bathing journey. And I do think, both for teaching but also for running sessions, my own experience probably means a couple of things. So it means, you know, it means I really am keen to help people who've experienced sort of mental health challenges, and I'll probably talk a little bit more about that later on. But also, yeah, like you said, meeting people where they are, that is super important to me. I know how it feels to have sort of so much kind of going on in your head and feel that stress and tension. And, you know, I've found some, yeah, and I don't even want to make it sound like that's in the past tense, like those things still happen for me. So, you know, I've found some ways to try and maybe be kind to myself. So that's really, you know, one of the things that I really want to bring to my sessions is to kind of try and encourage other people to bring that kindness to themselves, and to really, you know, like nature lets me be me. I want to have people feel they can come to their session, to my sessions, and be themselves, and really just wanting to support them to have their own experience and find their own connection with nature. Yeah, that feels really important. So sorry, I haven't at all answered the question you just asked me, which is why was I interested in running sessions at the lodge? And if I'm 100% honest, Olga, the answer is because it's 5 minutes up the road. So that is one of the reasons. And obviously I'm you know, I'm living in Bedfordshire. I don't live in Yorkshire at the moment, so I'm living in Bedfordshire, which would make it a bit of a commute to get up there. But the lodge is honestly a lovely place. Like, ever since I've lived in this area, I have loved going there. And I think partly it's because it's a range of habitats. So you have sort of more wooded areas, you have heathland areas, which is you know, quite a rare habitat that the RSPB are very keen to protect and maintain. So you have you know, a range of highlights through the year, from kind of bluebells in the spring. There's areas where you get this lovely carpet of bluebells. Then as they sort of go on through the year, you get, I mean, 2 years ago, there's this one area, it was just crowded with foxgloves. I've never seen so many foxgloves in one place. It was amazing. And then as you sort of go on through summer, you've got the heather on the heathland, so you get the lovely purple colours. And, you know, obviously when it comes to winter, there's quite a lot of mature oak trees around, so you get those beautiful kind of shapes of the trunks and the branches. So, you know, there's always something lovely to see, no matter what time of year it is. And I think there's just a really nice atmosphere to the place. I think for me, partly as well, it's to do with the fact that there's sort of gentle inclines, so there are places where you get views out over the countryside. But it's also these sort of gently winding paths. There's research, isn't there, that we kind of prefer winding paths rather than straight ones. And I think, yeah, just the whole place just kind of sort of draws you in.
Yeah, oh, I have such great memories, and everything that you just said, Liz, it brings it back, because for me, the lodge, it is a very unique place because of, partially because of what you said, heathland and woodland, which is not always something that you get on sites. Normally it's one or the other, but also this sense of that you can start somewhere quite open and then go into the depths of the forest within minutes sometimes, and then explore those little pockets of forest that are quite different and quite unique, I think. And throughout the year, the site, it's one of the sites that I think changes so beautifully throughout the season. So in a sense, if you come to a session in summer and then come the next season in autumn, you might be coming to two completely different sessions, and even within weeks sometimes there are changes. But
Mm.
another thing I would say I love about the site is that there are beautiful, it's just a beautiful site, and there are nice facilities there, and you can just come for a day and for a cup of tea, and go to a
Absolutely.
cafe, and yeah, just enjoy the being in a beautiful site and make a day out of it.
Totally. I mean, the cafe there is very popular, and it is very nice. I can highly recommend their range of, of drinks and food. And I think, you know, the other thing that's great about the lodge is that, you know, it's a beautiful place and it has this lovely feeling to it, but it's actually super handy. So, I mean, it's handy, obviously it's handy for me because it's just down the road, but you're just off the A1. So, you know, the main road sort of going up towards Yorkshire. So you're 2 minutes off the A1. Equally, you know, you can be on a train from London and you're sort of 40 minutes by train. So it's a lovely place, but in a super convenient location.
Yeah, that's another thing I think about RSPB The Lodge. It's just, yeah, it's convenient to get to. And whether you might be choosing public transport or you're driving, there are ways to get it, and ways to get to it even from London, which I think many of our listeners are from London and live in central London and maybe don't have a car to get to places. So there is a way to get to RSPB The Lodge.
Absolutely.
Yeah, why not try it? As I say, there are lots
Exactly.
of
Yeah.
ways to get there.
Venture
Very
out
good
into
today.
Bedfordshire. You'll love it.
Yeah, oh yeah, and it's a beautiful, just the beautiful area. I think it's just so picturesque. That's what I can say from my experience. And you know, you did mention, Liz, that you help support people in a, which I can vouch for because I've seen you doing it so many times with the students and in groups, that you help support people in this kind, compassionate way to get to that place in themselves where they feel connected, but also it helps to maybe balance their well-being, emotional well-being, mental well-being. Actually, we as we're doing this interview, it's the self-care week. So
Yes.
it's a very good time to talk about things like this and how forest bathing and nature connection can be part of this important thing like self-care and mental health as well as part of the overall well-being care. So I just wanted to see if you had any recommendations for our listeners who are maybe thinking of trying forest bathing, maybe thinking of going to your session, that now that they know that they can get to the session, and hopefully we told you a little bit more about the locations and also about how you guide people through this experience. But maybe there are some things that you can think about when you first tried forest bathing yourself, the questions in your head that you might want to answer for our listeners who are now listening to us and thinking, is it really for me? Is forest bathing gonna
Yes.
be the thing that I will enjoy and feel safe trying?
Yeah. No, absolutely. So, I mean, yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because I think actually, you know, we're all different. We all have sort of different comfort levels with what we want to do. Um, and I think, well, there's two bits of advice that I want to give, and I'm gonna, yeah, concentrate on what you said first of all, which is, I think, you know, I'd really encourage people, um, you know, if you're wondering if it's for you, then it probably is. I think is the simple answer. Um, you know, if you are someone who has ever enjoyed spending some time outside, then you can definitely enjoy a forest bathing session. You know, we have people coming to our sessions who, you know, all the way from kind of uh, university students through to people who are retired, and you know, you don't need to be any kind of person to have any kind of experience, to have any kind of interest. You know, I mean, we have people who work in science coming along, we have teachers coming along, we've got you know, people who are super keen bird watchers, you know, stay-at-home parents, whatever. You know, forest bathing really is for everyone. And I think one of the things that I do want to stress, because it was someone kind of said something to me like this when I was starting to learn mindfulness and meditation, and I found it really helpful, is that because I find sometimes people say, oh, you know, I'm not sure about mindfulness, that kind of stuff, not sure if that's really for me, I've tried and I can't do it. I get distracted. And yeah, what I'd say is, if you have tried something like that and you've noticed you've got distracted, like, that's it. You are doing mindfulness, like noticing that you've become distracted. That is mindfulness. You know, and noticing that, and then gradually finding ways to very gently and kindly to yourself bring your focus back, rather than kind of beating ourselves up because we've got distracted. That is the mindfulness process. So it's not that you can't do it, you are doing it. So I really wanted to emphasize that, and to stress as well, you know, nature supports us in staying in the moment. You know, it's doing a session outside, like forest bathing, where we're aiming to spend mindful time out there, that can feel very different to being indoors and trying to do a more formal mindfulness practice. You know, there are so many lovely elements in nature that help to hold us there in the moment. You know, the whole experiences of enjoying nature, rather than it sort of being yeah, some kind of particularly formal practice. So yeah, if you've ever enjoyed time in nature, you will enjoy forest bathing. That is my kind of advice on that point. And then my second bit of advice, which is very practical and sort of designed for this season that we're going into, which is winter, which is always wear more than you think you need to. Like, you cannot wear too much for forest bathing. It's very hard. If you've got too many layers on, you can always take some off. But yeah, I always say to my groups, like, think about how many layers you want to put on, and then probably add 2 more. So, you know, yeah, I did a little video last year showing people how I get dressed for forest bathing, and honestly, I'm out there like the Michelin man. But you know, we want to be able to relax, and you can't relax if you're not warm and dry and comfortable. So yeah, that's my practical tip for people coming to forest bathing.
Oh, I love your tips. And Liz, I loved your video. Actually, last year, I remember you did share it, and we will share it on our social media as well for anyone who's.
Yeah, I was thinking I need to dig it back out again, because it's come to that time of year.
Oh, please do, because I think the thing is, at this time of the year, yeah, everyone, I think even some walkers who go on walks, they don't realize that it's going to be really chilly. And if you are moving fast, which you are not in forest bathing, you probably will warm up. But the thing is, with forest bathing, we move quite slowly, so the body temperature can fall down. And I think, yeah, this is one of the best practical advice, and we will of course share your videos, because your video is brilliant, because I think you go through layer by layer. So
Yeah.
someone who's very new, or maybe when I remember I lived in city, I wasn't that aware of how many layers is actually a good amount of layers when you're going.
Exactly. Well, if you don't, if you don't do it, if you're not outside regularly, there's no reason for you to know. And even if you are outside regularly, like you say, Olga, it might be that you're outside every day walking the dog, but actually you're probably moving quite quickly. So yeah, it's just realizing that actually, a few more layers never hurts.
Exactly. And I know how you give some of the variations of different layers. So it's not like you have to get the gear to try.
Oh, no. It's it's not about going out and buying loads of expensive gear. And one of the things I'm very happy for people to we'll give my contact details at the end, but if people want recommendations for places where they can get sort of cheaper gear and stuff like that, then that's fine. But you will probably have at home the stuff that you can wear. It's just about putting enough of it on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I really like that. And I think that's what makes it very accessible. And this is what we're trying to also promote at the Forest Bathing Institute, in terms of, you don't have to have the perfect location, you don't have to have the perfect gear. It does need to be the perfect time of the year, because it's never a perfect time, or any time is actually the perfect time, unless it's, of course, not safe. And we would need to,
Yes,
that's some
yes, yes.
that are not safe. But I really liked how you shared about the accessibility of forest bathing, and that you don't really need any experience. And you also talked about how, in comparison to something like mindfulness indoors, when you're doing forest bathing, your focus is more outdoors, and the prime aim of the experience is to just experience nature, and whatever comes out of it, whether it's sometimes it can be surprise, sometimes it can be joy, sometimes it can be even a bit like emotions coming up, such as like, what am I doing here, what's coming up next, but all this is being addressed by you as a trained guide who's able to then guide the people in that experience in a safe manner, where we feel like it is a safe and comfortable place to have that experience. And of course, there are so
Absolutely.
many benefits coming out of it. So
Yeah.
we know, like, there are some potential benefits that range from decreased anxiety and stress to improved mood and concentration, and even boosted immune system, which is quite nice for us to know, especially at this time of the year, so flu season is.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah, and and what you said about mindfulness also, for anyone interested, let us know if you would like us to send a link to a study with the University of Derby, where we compared mindfulness indoors and mindfulness outdoors in a form of forest bathing. And actually, mindfulness outdoors, the participants in our particular study found easier, especially the beginners, because in a sense, this is what Liz talked about. It's more like your focus is rather than internally, which can sometimes be a bit challenging, especially if you're going through some difficult times. It's externally, and the nature and all the elements in nature, and there's so much science behind it, help us relax and get to the place of where we feel happy, we feel peaceful, we feel relaxed. So anyone interested in that link, please let us know and we will send it to you. So thank you very much, Liz, for today's interview. And I think many of us are now interested to know, so where can we find the upcoming dates for your events? What other projects are you doing? So as I mentioned, Liz is also the founder of Wilder Lives. So you do other projects in that organization. So could you please share with us a few of the details, such as maybe your website and where we can find more information about the upcoming events, etc.?
Yeah, of course. So obviously we've been talking particularly about the events with the Forest Bathing Institute at RSPB The Lodge. So if people are interested on booking for those sessions, then that is done through the RSPB website. And I know, Olga, you're going to share these links with people, aren't you? Yeah. So so for the lodge, you can find more information and booking on the RSPB website. But yeah, as you said, I have my own sort of nature connection business, which is Wilder Lives. So if people head to wilderlives.co.uk, you can find the details of all the sessions there. So including the ones at the lodge, you'll find the links for those. So I have a couple of other sort of regular sites that I run sessions at. So one of those is Salsey Forest, which is over towards Northampton. And then I've just actually I ran sessions, this second place, Malden Wood. I ran sessions here when I was training, but I haven't been back there for a few years, so it's really lovely to be doing sessions there as well. And that's kind of it's sort of between Bedford, Milton Keynes and Luton. That's where Malden Wood is. So again, super handy for people to come along. And I think the things that I'm sort of particularly excited about coming up. This month I ran my very first kind of afternoon workshop, which was a combination of forest bathing and mindful crafting. So, I personally love anything creative, sort of arty or crafts in particular. Yeah, basically any craft, I'm very happy to have a go at it. And it's another one of those things that I found is really helpful for my well-being. It really helps boost my mood and helps me feel sort of calmer. It gives you that sort of sense of satisfaction as well when you've made something at the end of it. So yeah, so we had an afternoon where we spent some time in the woods, kind of particularly focusing actually on vision and getting that sort of visual inspiration. And then we went back inside, and I led the group through creating silk wall hangings and painting leaves. Silk painting is such a brilliant way of sort of capturing the different colours and how they merge and blend. So yeah, but that was just the sort of first craft workshop. So there's going to be more of those coming up next year. So I'm really excited about those. It's basically like all my favourite things wrapped up in one afternoon. So that's lovely. But then I think also the maybe a kind of even bigger thing. I mean, you mentioned, Olga, and I think this is, is really something that's really important to me, is the accessibility of sessions. And, coming from my own experience with sort of mental health challenges, wanting to make sure that forest bathing is available to as many people as possible, and particularly, those who we know are going to really benefit from it, because the research shows, right, if you're more stressed going into the woods, then it has a bigger effect on you. So, really, really passionate about making sure that as many people can find their own connection with nature as possible and have those benefits. So that's why it's been really exciting to, particularly over the last couple of years, start working with different local charities and organisations to be able to offer kind of either free or subsidised sessions. So yeah, just say partly, if any organisation is listening and you're based sort of Bedfordshire or around, and you think your clients would benefit from forest bathing, or I ran a session for a brain injury charity where we did a lot of it indoors. I brought the elements indoors for them. So that is please do get in touch with me, because it would be lovely to work together. But something I've been super impressed with is the local council here, so Central Bedfordshire Council. I've been working with them now for just over a year, running various sessions. Over summer we had series of both adult and family sessions in local parks. So the idea was kind of bringing it to people. You don't need to get to a remote location. We can work with the nature that's there, on your doorstep. So that was amazing. And they've just started running a program which I'm part of, which is called Foundations into Wellness. And this is a 6-week program where each week people who maybe are experiencing sort of stress or anxiety, similar issues to that, each week they have a different expert coming in to kind of give them tools in different areas. So there's a week around sleep and improving sleep. There's a week around meditation. There's a week around nutrition. There's a week about, we call it walk into wellness. We're doing our nature connection walks, which I'm running. So, I just think it's amazing that, particularly public authorities are willing to, engage with this more holistic view of health and of well-being. So again, if people are listening and you're in Bedfordshire and that sounds like something you're interested in, because this is all free to attend, this is 6 weeks free, please do get in touch. You can ask your GP to refer you to the Active Lifestyles team of Central Bedfordshire Council, and we're going to be starting a new batch of that in the new year, and then hopefully it sounds like expanding it through the county to different locations. So there's so much exciting stuff. Another sort of accessible thing. So I've been training in Eco Nidra, which is online. It's kind of a combination of sort of yoga nidra, which is you'll know, Olga, but your listeners might not know, is effectively a sort of way of guided relaxation meditation, helping people sort of rest deeply. So it's kind of a combination of that and some of the principles of forest bathing to create online sessions with a lovely sort of nature soundscape to listen to. So yeah, that's going to be coming in the new year as well. So there's loads of things on the menu for 2026.
This is so exciting, Liz. I kept on taking notes because I'm like I need to follow up with you because it's just so many interesting things, and I'm really actually looking forward to hopefully next year coming and visiting you at the lodge and coming to one of the
Hey!
sessions because yeah, it's been such a long time, and you know, and everything that you mentioned, it's just such an important part of your work, I think, working with the organizations and making sure that forest bathing, this kind of your where you started, where you felt that nature is so important and pivotal in your health and well-being, and then spreading it out to your local community, to your you know, to the people around you where you live. It's just such an incredible thing, and it just looks like it's a circle coming around. And the more people I think learn about nature and including myself as well, how it benefits you, the more we want to share about the benefits. So it's really exciting for me, and I would love to also try yoga nidra, eco nidra, sorry, as a combination of yoga nidra and forest bathing. Haven't tried it yet, so I'm very interested in that. And thank you for mentioning that people can also ask their GP to be added to the active lifestyle a team, social
Yeah,
goals.
so that's in central Bedfordshire, yeah.
Central Bedfordshire. That's I hope that some of that is we also as listeners writing it down, or maybe at least you can note Liz's website wilderlife.co.uk and then go there and check out this information. But if any of us listeners who are in Bedfordshire, or you're going to be moving to Bedfordshire, or you are just interested to learn more about what's happening, you are free to email us or comment if we're sharing it on social media, and we will be coming back to you with more information. And thank you very much, Liz, for sharing about what you do, your passion for nature, and also all the projects that you have coming up. And I think there are so many things for us to choose from. And if there is any question left for the listeners in terms of whether forest bathing is for you or not, you can always come back to us, and we can pass the question to Liz if you would like to hear Liz's opinion about any of the questions that you asked. And we will, of course, put all the information about Liz's website, upcoming events, etc., where you can find and book to the sessions that Liz mentioned in the description below this video. So please stay tuned to our podcast, and we would love to come back to you sometime soon with another interesting interview. But for today, thank you very much, Liz, for joining us, and it's
Oh, thanks,
a pleasure
Olga.
to have you on our podcast.
Lovely. Thank you.
Thank you.